Hey everyone, it's like Christmas for me. Let me tell you why it's like Christmas for me. I am in the brand new Executive Speakers Bureau virtual studio, and I get to use it before anyone else. So this is the most amazing thing. And my guest today, speaking of Christmas, is everyone's favorite magic sparkle elf, Louie Gravance. Had to get that plug in there, Louie.
I knew you were going to work in the elf thing. I just knew it.
I had to because it's great, because it's and it's kind of like Christmas for you too, because today we're talking about a project that is very near and dear to Louie's heart, and that is the release of his brand new book, Service is a Superpower. So I've got to ask, how are you feeling right now about the launch?
Well, it's been delayed 3 times because of world events. And do you know what? Honestly, I believe in something called quantum harmony. And
Okay.
first naturally, you'd be very disappointed. I got very disappointed. And then I thought, why don't I just read this book I wrote, which gives advice about handling moments like this, and really sort of took in the quantum harmony about how this message and the book has never been more relevant than it's going to be as we all relaunch, not just reopen, but relaunch our shows, our brands, our products. It's not just a reopening, it's a relaunch for those of us that take this opportunity.
I love it. That's great. So I want to talk about the title, because I know the title, Service is a Superpower, is something that you've been using in your keynotes for a while.
Yes.
And I think it's really great because it empowers the people who are giving service. It's saying, this isn't just about worrying everyone that's around. This is really about yourself first. So talk to me kind of about where it came from.
It's fascinating, Stephen, how we see a lot of really great speakers and presenters on customer service and learn a great deal about it. And I'm always amazed at the metrics that we have for what great service delivering wow moments will do for your brand, for your bottom line, for your customers. We are completely clumsy and ignorant about discussing what does delivering good service bring or achieve for the person who's delivering it, or is there any?
Right.
Is there any power in that? We don't know how to talk about that. And when you look at great organizations that do it consistently, they live within cultures where it's almost competitive to create these moments, because that's part of the way they live. And so I think the message is going to be right on, right to the moment, and I'm really looking.
So I want to build that to go into kind of your Disney experience. You say, the reason why people work at Disney World isn't because you're making $850,000 a year, but it's so you can be a part of creating these wow service moments for these people who have paid a lot of money and who have come for this experience at Disney World. Like, that's what's truly empowering. So, I mean, is that kind of how you see it? Is that really what gives them the fuel for their customer service fire?
And that's exactly why I called the book Service is I can't believe I'm doing this. Service is a Superpower. Lessons.
I'm doing it too. We're doing it at the same time. See?
Lessons
at the same
learned
time.
in
There
a
we go.
Magic Kingdom. The lessons learned in a Magic Kingdom creates the context of how I learned a great deal about what service looks like in all kinds of business units. Think about a theme park. You have a huge team of finance people. You have a huge team of insurance actuaries, a call center, people that never interface with the guests at all. And I tell that story about the pizza lady.
I love the pizza lady. The pizza lady is like we're soulmates, spirit animals.
Because so the thing is when you're going to be a trainer at Disney, they want you to learn the tasks so that you're not just a talking head. They want you to have experienced what it's like to do laundry for all the hotels, which is an amazing facility, or being a custodian.
Amazing. I'm sure amazing is one word for it.
It's massive. It's massive. All of those resort hotels and the bed sheets and all of that. It's just that one thing alone. So and you work custodial and not pretty custodial, and you clean up hotel rooms and they want you to see what these tasks look like, so that when you're
Sure.
interfacing with these people on their first day and saying, okay, this is what magic is going to look like, you have some frame of reference. And so in the middle of it, and these were tough gigs, I get to make pizza with this lady behind the Tomorrowland Terrace. And I find out
that's in between Space Mountain and what's the name of that roving thing that goes around Tomorrowland? The one with the carts.
Mover.
My son loves that one. That's like his favorite ride. I don't know why, but
it is one of the busiest fast food locations on the face of the earth. It's amazing. So backstage, this lady, her specialty was making pizza, and she had done it for 19 years. And I mentioned in the book that she had full-on dental insurance, but it just never. She
just never used it.
That she had half her teeth, and we
just didn't take advantage of it. That's okay.
Just, I mean, it was just part of her whole folksy charm, and she was a wonderful woman. And you have to admit that when we met up with these trainers, we were meeting ringers.
Sure.
They were making sure that we were meeting the finest that department had to offer. So anyway, it was very much like the I Love Lucy episode, where the dough comes out on this conveyor belt, and you're manned with this brush and cheese, and it's coming down, and not too fast, and you do it, and you're brushing it, and then you develop this style, and you sort of sprinkle the cheese on, move it to the left, unless it's going to go to the right, where then pepperoni is going to be thrown on by somebody else. So I thought this was pretty fun, and they're playing music in the background, and after the cleaning the toilets in the hotel rooms had shook me up, and so I'm having a lark, and I'm humming to myself, just having and it's coming down. Now this lady, it's not just a task to her, and she's watching it, she probably thought, whoa, what a punk. And finally she comes up and she taps me on the shoulder, and she goes, honey, baby, honey, baby. You see, you got to get that cheese all the way around that pizzeria even, because if you don't, see, it ain't going to be a good show for my guests.
I love it.
She'd never met a guest.
Yeah.
And yet she always retained the difference. She understood intrinsically the difference between the job and the task. And part of that is the intention that is made so clear in training. And what I try and tell other people when we design training for customer service, why we need to make the clarity of the intention and how it works with the overall narrative, and how the employee or participant can join that narrative is so important. And to think that one of the greatest lessons that anchors this belief I have is just from this lady who knew the art of what she was doing back there making pizza. And I mean,
what an amazing sense of ownership that she had.
Yeah.
I mean, just to say, like, she never met a guest, but she had this belief that this one little thing, if not done properly, was going to affect the customer experience. And she knew that she could have the power to give someone a better day if the cheese on the pizza was going all the way to the edge. I mean, how amazing is that? If you as a leader can give that to your people, that kind of ownership, that kind of power to really say, hey, if you do this one thing, you're going to make someone's day better. That's amazing.
The saddest thing about not manning people with information about the power of providing service is that, you work with a lot of different kinds of industries, and so do I. And I am always amazed that whether it's a printer, a funeral home, a store that sells Holly Hobby kinds of things, no matter where it is, it's always fascinating to me how rarely people stop and think about what those products or services have really meant to somebody, because they've been tasked out. And there's a great art to providing a culture where that can live.
So one of the cool things that you did, you were the first ever Disney trainer to actually take what you taught at Disney and replicate it outside of Disney.
Well, at a bank, I know. I'm sure other people, went at it.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm in a bank. Bank of America of all places. So
I don't know. I don't want to take credit. I don't know what people have been doing for a long time. But yes, this was a experiment to Disneyfy Disneyfy the financial experience in its own way. That's something that's very important, because not every performance, not every job requires a performance not everybody's selling happiness.
Sure.
Some people are selling responsibility. Some people are selling trust. And so there's a different performance, health, safety, different performance techniques are utilized. But emotionalism was not a piece of the world of finance. And it was very brave. I think it was very brave of Bank of America to, first of all, we'd written a program called, honestly, it was called Spirit to Serve, but we were ignorant that Marriott already owned that. So we went with Bank of America Spirit. And just that word in the title for a financial institution was really making a statement.
Sure. Yeah. I can totally understand that. What was the biggest, okay, so I mean, let's look at kind of the lessons learned. What was kind of the biggest lesson you have out of the 10 you have in your book? What was the biggest one that you were like, if I can get Bank of America to buy into this one, it's really going to change their customer interactions?
Really, it was the first one in the intention, that these people
serve with intention.
Serve with intention. And that way, because what I realize is that the Walt Disney Company is not the only company that has a rich, romantic narrative, history, legacy. And what I found was I was working with a culture that had not mined this story at all. And what a story it was about it being founded by a gentleman that literally went door to door in San Francisco. It was called the Bank of Italy. He called it the Bank of Italy, and would judge whether or not he was going to give someone a loan to buy a home based on the calluses on their hands. He wanted to see their hands because he could tell who really was a hard worker.
Sure.
And all the times that the Bank of America had stepped in to save projects, to help our country, this had not been a part of their training experience at all. Their participation in, and their relationship to Disney, that on 2 occasions, things weren't, Snow White was not going to get completed unless they pleased this one guy smoking a pipe who walked in, and Walt hated to audition the movies. But he
really,
he hated it. He loathed anybody seeing them before they were completed. And the problem with doing Snow White, sort of like what we just went through with computer animation, in that we're talking about a medium that is growing so quickly. It's becoming so much more sophisticated. The artistry is becoming so much more sophisticated so quickly that things that you're doing today make things that you did just 6 weeks ago look sorry.
Right.
Why they say that Snow White was done 2.5 times, because they were getting so much better at it that they would go back and redo it. So anyway, they were a couple of $100,000 short, and the brother goes, "Look, we got to show it to this banker. He's going to come in." And so they ran it for him. And the guy this is a famous story that's in a lot of Walt Disney biographies. The guy says nothing to the whole thing. Just sits and watches the whole thing. Gets up, talks about the weather or something. And just as he's going out, he goes, that thing's going to make a pot full of money. All he said, they got the money. Period.
And the rest is history.
And so the bank had tons of stories like this that nobody, and then what we had to do is realize that those people that were making that legacy come alive were doing the same thing every day.
Yeah,
and
that's
we're
good.
not realizing that we're doing that. We're doing that to create that. So to answer your question, the first one, serving with intention, deciding, what it is that I had to do that for myself. What is my core product? And this is what my core product is inspirational fun. And from that, my mission is I utilize inspirational fun as a catalyst for service excellence. And in the book, I sort of lay out a little workbook so that people can isolate and identify what their core product is, no matter where they're working. What is their core product? They're a brand in some way. What's the core product that's going to ground them to the service that they're going to provide?
Yeah, I like that. That's really good. So there's a section in the book that I think is absolutely fascinating. And I think that it's something that Again, I mean, it's fascinating principle. I don't want to go into it too much because I want to hear you talk about it. But you talk about being quiet so the customer can answer their own question, which I think is a fascinating thing doing it. So, I mean, just open up that box and talk about that because that's fascinating.
I like to talk about the martial arts expert aspect of delivering service, which sometimes is to do nothing, which is sometimes the most powerful thing you can do, is to allow the opponent, to allow the participant to thrust and to allow them to help solve it by not getting in the way. And it's so hard for people that, for example, that work phones.
Yeah.
Because they're timed, and some of what they're doing is scripted, and it's, it's supposed to work like that. So, plus in America, I'll speak for ourselves as Americans, the art of our conversation, we're much better talkers than listeners.
Sure. I would 100% agree with that.
There's a great art to, pardon my language, just shut up for just a second.
Just to not say anything.
And some of the best, think about how many times you've really been annoyed at a service moment. Get all puffed up. You ask the manager over, we've all done it. And then you tell the manager all that happened to make you so upset. And as it's coming out of your mouth, you realize, okay, maybe I've overreacted.
Maybe it's not as bad as I thought it was.
Articulating it. So that's just one aspect of the art of silence for a moment. As is true with the best comedians in the world, best actors, and especially the best comedians, know the art and the confidence of a pause, of just when is the right time to
not say anything,
to allow the other person to help solve the problem.
Do you have a personal anecdote on this? Like a moment you go back to and it's like, I did that. Like I just let the customer do.
Oh, all the time.
Crazy.
All the time. Because people would come up and okay.
Well, here's the thing.
Something happens a lot.
Hold on. Let me make this point, okay? Whenever you were the mayor of Hollywood, like, I cannot imagine how many people would come up and complain to you thinking that you were like the real person in charge of everything.
Right.
At Hollywood Studios.
Just say, let's imagine that this would happen a lot. Let's imagine the great movie ride went down. All right. So there's nothing anyone can do. Sometimes James Cagney's mouth doesn't work or something, and they gotta bring it down. All right.
Yeah.
So people will get very upset, and they just, the first person in costume that's standing there, they will unload, and almost you will not be you'll be amazed at how many times someone will say, "The whole reason we came here today was to ride the great movie ride," and then you just take a pause, let that rest on their ear, and then repeat it back to them. Take another pause. Maybe not the case. And another classic example is, we would always tell people, do not be a smart aleck. When people will run up to you, you know what the most asked question besides where is the bathroom is?
Where's Mickey?
What time is the 3 o'clock parade? Now, you can just imagine.
That's crazy.
All the smart alecky things that come to your mind that how you might want to answer.
Yes.
But you had to realize that what they were really saying is, what time does the 3 o'clock parade come by right where I'm standing? There's a 25-minute variance there.
Sure.
So by not judging the question, also that's another really piece of the art of listening and not prejudging the outcome of the question, because those of us who professionally answer questions, and again, I'm talking about phone line people. How many times have you been on a phone line and the people are very anxious to help you, but they will not allow you to finish telling them what the circumstance is?
Yeah. And so, and you don't know the full context of what they're asking. So
If you listen, you'll ask better questions. You know, so yeah, that is, again, there's a real use the force loop thing there.
Yeah.
With let them exhaust their power there a second.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so I want to ask one more question. I know our time's getting short. And I kind of told myself, I was like, hey, I'm not going to talk any kind of about pandemic related things, but it's where we are. But I think there's a really interesting tie into Disney and really interesting tie into your book, talking about serving with safety, serving with the intention of serving with safety. And I think that one of the things that we talk about as a bureau, but just as just an events and tourism industry, which we're kind of lumped in with, is, government restrictions and what they allow is one thing, but people feeling safe to go and do is a totally different thing. And so I think it's so interesting that you have written about it, very timely, but I would love to hear your thoughts just kind of on what does it mean to serve with safety and have that as in the front part of your mind and how important that is.
Well, the theme of a lot of what I talk about is how there's no business but show business. And the first line of making people feel comfortable about coming back is going to be the showmanship that each brand, store, service utilizes to show everyone that they're making the effort. Wearing masks, wearing gloves, modeling behavior. And the other thing that's going to be a challenge is how, for example, Disney, I understand, are going to have people in the park to remind folks about social distancing. Okay, how many times an hour is somebody going to get very feisty about this? Because, what we've learned, I understand, in the theme park industry, because I've looked into this and I'm part of the grapevine,
right,
is that take annual pass holders, for example. 50% of them have made it pretty clear they ain't coming back unless everybody's in a mask, including themselves. The other half have made it clear, don't expect me to wear a mask.
Interesting.
So this is going to be a new frontier, but from the angle of the service provider, we don't really have that luxury.
Of course.
We're going to need to err to the side of caution and show it. Beyond showing empathy, show that we're taking steps. I noticed that supermarkets are making it clear that there's people outside and they've got the spray bottles and they've got the rags. They're showing us that they're on top of it. They're all wearing masks. Cleanliness has always been important, always. But now the look and the presentation of that cleanliness is going to be more important than ever.
Yeah. That's awesome, and again, it's like no business but show business. You show the people that you are caring about them, you're concerned about them, concerned about their health, concerned about their safety. So that's really good.
And again, there's going to be a showmanship. We're going about how we in every industry about how we learn to put this in context.
Yeah, it's really good. Okay, I got to talk to the great Lou Dini here for a second. So Louie, as some of y'all know, is a movie critic, reviewer. I don't know which jargon you like better. Louie has predicted the past two Oscar-winning Best Pictures on ESB platforms.
No, if I may say, four of the top five both years, and both years have been weird.
I know they have been because was it Moonlight?
You thought I was crazy the year before when I picked Moonlight.
I did because I thought La La Land was going to win.
Yeah.
And I was wrong. You were right. I will say that. I will literally come on my own show and say I was wrong, and that's something not a lot of people do. But I will do that for you. But then you came out of where? But then oh gosh, I'm blanking on what won this year. Parasite. Parasite. A foreign language film. I mean, it's crazy, but you got it.
But Stephen, I keep telling you, this is the key to predicting the Academy Awards. Think of it in this term.
Oh my gosh.
The Academy is not awarding it. And this is a collective consciousness, because it's not like they meet in a room and decide.
Right.
It's a collective consciousness. They don't award the movie that they think is best. You have to realize that they pick the movie that they want you to think they think is best. You see, it's a whole.
That is profound. That is a profound statement right there.
This is the clue to picking the Oscar winner. It doesn't matter even what they think is best. They'll pick a movie because this is what they want people to think.
That is amazing.
They think is the best one, which is why La La Land didn't pick it, because it was a much cooler pick to show you, the American public, that they selected a movie that they wanted you to know that they think you see the whole.
I know. I get it. Okay, so any early thoughts on 2021 Best Picture?
Oh, all bets are off. All bets are off.
I haven't seen that. Is George Clooney in that movie?
Okay, you know what? I'm going to go.
That was a bad joke. That was a really bad joke. I'm sorry. That was a terrible joke.
I will go out on a limb. I'm going to go out on a limb here.
Okay.
I think in times of stress like this, what our nation has shown us is that they go towards musicals. They go towards, or something, Steven Spielberg, in time for Christmas, is going to release a brand new take on West Side Story.
Oh.
A multi-ethnic cast, full-scale musical. Rita Moreno, who was in the original production and who won an Academy Award for the Cheetah Rivera role, Anita, is going to be in it now as a senior citizen, playing Pops, usually played by an old guy who owns the store where they, anyway.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go out on a limb. It's got a lot of, it could be lightning in a bottle. You got Spielberg, you got
all the stuff. I think it's good, but you know what? We'll give you an opportunity to revise that. But for right now, sitting here, I think it's good.
Okay,
so good.
Also, they would love it. They would love for you to think,
yes,
that they were so cool that they picked a multiracial musical and applauded Steven Spielberg for it in this time. It's got a lot of going for it.
Yeah, awesome. All right. Louie, tell people where they can get this book.
They can get it on Amazon. It comes June 2nd is the official release, and Mascot Books. Or another great way is to have one of my keynotes or services to Superpower seminars.
Yep.
Where they act as a guidebook. That's another great way.
All three great ways. Louie's awesome. The book's awesome. Go out and get it. Great summer read, especially too as we're kind of things are starting to open up again, and a lot of really good things to think about all the time. But also too as businesses are opening back up and welcoming people back in. So, Louie, my friend, it's so good to see you. I will look forward to talking to you again soon, and thank you for the time.
Congratulations on the whole new studio.
Yeah, I know we're still figuring it out, but we're excited about it. So it'll be good.
You guys are always the vanguards. You're always like. Good.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. Well, listen, Louie, thank you so much for the time, and we'll chat soon, okay?
All right. Say hi to everybody there in Memphis.
All right.
Love
Bye,
you.
Louie.
Bye.